Mercedes had pole position. Mercedes had the championship leader. Mercedes had control of the Spanish Grand Prix until Ferrari made one perfect call, Hamilton took fresh tires, and everything collapsed. Then the rumor exploded. Ferrari had a hidden Barcelona upgrade. Mercedes was furious. The Fédération Internationale de l'Automobile was investigating. Hamilton's first win in red was suddenly under pressure. But here is the twist. The verified story does not prove Ferrari cheated. It points to something far more dangerous for Mercedes. Because while everyone is asking what Ferrari was hiding, the real technical pressure was already surrounding Mercedes, their front wing, and the questions Ferrari had pushed before Hamilton ever crossed the line. So if Hamilton's victory is not the scandal, then what did Barcelona really expose? Subscribe to the channel. To understand why Barcelona became so explosive, you have to start with the part Mercedes never wanted to admit. Ferrari did not win from chaos alone. Ferrari won from preparation. That is what makes the defeat so painful. Before the race, Mercedes looked like the team with the clearest path. George Russell was on pole position. Kimi Antonelli was carrying the championship lead. The Mercedes garage had the confidence of a team that believed it could control the afternoon from the front, protect the tires, manage the gaps, and keep Ferrari reacting instead of attacking. Ferrari had to find another way. They could not simply wait for Mercedes to make the race comfortable. They could not afford a straightforward Grand Prix where Russell dictated the pace, Antonelli protected the standings, and Hamilton spent the afternoon chasing a car he could not reach. Ferrari needed to change the shape of the race. That is why the soft tire start was so important. Soft tires are not a safe promise. They are a risk with speed attached. They can give a driver grip at the exact moment he needs it, but they can also fade if the driver asks too much too soon. Use them perfectly, and they become a weapon. Use them badly, and they become evidence that the team panicked. Mercedes could look at that Ferrari choice and think the red team had exposed itself. But Ferrari was playing a longer game. Hamilton did not need the soft tire to win the race immediately. He needed it to keep him close enough, flexible enough, and dangerous enough for Ferrari to react when the right moment appeared. That is the first clue. Ferrari was not gambling blindly. Ferrari was waiting. And waiting in Formula One is one of the hardest things to do, because every second feels like it is slipping away. The pit wall sees the gaps. The driver feels the tires. The rival team is trying to pull clear. The pressure grows lap after lap, and still, the plan only works if nobody loses patience. Hamilton had to live inside that pressure. He had to protect the tire without becoming too slow. He had to stay close without overdriving. He had to trust that Ferrari knew why it had put him on that path. That trust mattered because Hamilton's Ferrari story had been under judgment from the moment it began. Every fan knew the dream. Hamilton in red. The most famous driver of his generation joining the most famous team in the sport. A final great chapter, or maybe the beginning of something nobody truly believed until they saw it. But dreams are fragile in Formula One. They need lap time. They need tire life. They need pit stops that work. They need strategy calls made at exactly the right second. And Barcelona finally gave Ferrari that second. Fernando Alonso's Aston Martin stopped on track, and the virtual safety car was triggered. The field slowed. The gaps changed meaning. The pit lane became cheaper than it would be under normal racing speed. That was the crack Ferrari needed. And they moved instantly. Hamilton came in. Fresh tires went on. The plan that had looked risky suddenly made perfect sense. This is where Mercedes' frustration becomes understandable. Because from their side, it would have felt like the race was stolen in a moment. They had done the hard work on Saturday. They had the front of the grid. They had the championship leader in position. Then one reduced speed window allowed Ferrari to turn the whole race upside down. But feeling robbed is not the same as being cheated. That distinction is the heart of this story. The verified information does not confirm that Ferrari's strategy was illegal. It does not confirm that Hamilton's win was under a real penalty threat. It does not confirm that a hidden Barcelona upgrade had been proven against Ferrari. What it does show is that Ferrari executed a legal opportunity better than Mercedes did. And that can hurt even more. Because if a rival breaks the rules, you can fight the result. If a rival outsmarts you, you have to fight yourself. Mercedes would have to ask why the opening was missed. Why Ferrari was ready first. Why Hamilton, the driver they knew better than anyone, suddenly looked so comfortable converting a risky plan into a race-winning one. That is why the rumor about a hidden upgrade became so powerful. It gave Mercedes a cleaner explanation. It suggested that Ferrari's sudden strength came from something concealed, something technical, something the governing body needed to examine. It made the defeat feel less like a strategic wound, and more like a case waiting to be opened. But the source does not confirm that. There is no verified proof that Ferrari's Barcelona upgrade was illegal. There is no confirmed ruling that the car crossed a technical line. There is no confirmed Mercedes protest strong enough to place Hamilton's win in direct danger. So the bigger question is not what Ferrari was hiding. The bigger question is why Mercedes suddenly looked exposed. And the answer begins with pressure. Before Barcelona, Mercedes had the power of dominance. When a team keeps winning, every decision looks smarter. Every technical idea looks justified. Every rival complaint sounds a little weaker because the results speak first. After Barcelona, that shield cracked. Russell's pole did not become victory. Antonelli's championship lead took a major hit. Hamilton won by using Ferrari's strategy, Ferrari's timing, and Ferrari's trust. The red car was no longer just chasing the story. It was changing it. That gave Ferrari something it desperately needed: credibility. Before winning, Ferrari questioning Mercedes could sound like frustration. After winning, it sounded like a warning. Ferrari could now say, "We can beat you on track, and we still want answers about your car." That is where the real tension sits. Because the confirmed regulatory pressure in the source is not centered on Ferrari's supposed hidden Barcelona upgrade. It is centered on Mercedes, especially questions Ferrari had already raised about the Mercedes front wing interpretation earlier in the season. That changes the whole meaning of Hamilton's win. It means Barcelona did not simply create a Ferrari controversy. It strengthened Ferrari's position in a Mercedes controversy. The front wing may sound like a small technical detail, but in Formula One, it is one of the first places rivals look when a car seems too strong. It shapes how the air moves around the entire car. It affects balance, grip, tire wear, and confidence in the corners. A tiny change can matter. Think of holding your hand outside a car window. Turn it slightly, and the air pushes differently. Now imagine a Formula One team building an entire performance advantage around movements and angles far smaller than your hand can feel. That is why Ferrari's questions mattered. And that is why Mercedes losing in Spain mattered even more. Because once the dominant team loses, every technical question becomes louder. The hidden upgrade rumor pointed attention at Ferrari. But Ferrari's victory pointed pressure back at Mercedes. That is the twist. Hamilton did not win a race that made Ferrari look guilty. He won a race that made Mercedes look less untouchable. And once a team stops looking untouchable, the entire paddock changes how it behaves. Rivals start studying every detail more aggressively. Strategists start believing there are ways to beat the leader. Drivers start seeing opportunity where they once saw inevitability. The governing body's decisions begin to feel heavier because the championship no longer looks safely controlled by one team. That is why Barcelona was so dangerous. It was not just one Ferrari win. It was the first real crack in the season's power structure. And for Mercedes, that is the one thing no amount of anger can easily fix. Then came the moment where frustration turned into suspicion. Because Mercedes could not look at Barcelona as a normal defeat. A normal defeat is simple. The rival has more pace. The tires go away. The strategy is obvious. The result hurts, but the explanation is clean. Barcelona was not clean from Mercedes. It had too many moving parts. Russell started from pole, but lost control of the race. Antonelli was supposed to protect the championship lead, but his Mercedes failed on lap 62. Hamilton started on a risky strategy, but somehow turned that risk into victory. Ferrari looked vulnerable early, then suddenly looked decisive at the exact moment the race changed. That is why Mercedes would start asking questions. Not one question. Many. How did Ferrari keep Hamilton close enough for the plan to work? Why did the soft tire start not destroy the race early? How much time did Hamilton really gain under the virtual safety car? Why was his pace after the stop so strong? Was this only strategy, or had Ferrari found a performance step Mercedes did not expect? That is where the hidden upgrade rumor became dangerous. Because in Formula One, when a car suddenly looks stronger, rivals do not just admire it. They investigate it. They look at the bodywork. They look at the wing angles. They look at the floor edges. They compare photographs from one race to the next. They study speed traces, corner behavior, tire degradation, and every small clue that might explain why a car has changed. That does not mean something illegal happened. It means winning makes you visible. Ferrari had become visible again. And visibility in Formula One is never comfortable. The claim that the Federación Internacional de el Automóvil opened an investigation into Ferrari's hidden Barcelona upgrade sounds explosive. It sounds like Mercedes found the missing piece, the secret that could explain why Hamilton suddenly won, the evidence that could turn Ferrari's celebration into a legal fight. But the verified information does not confirm that story. There is no confirmed ruling that Ferrari's Barcelona upgrade was illegal. There is no confirmed evidence that Mercedes exposed a hidden Ferrari part. There is no confirmed formal case placing Hamilton's victory under threat because of an upgrade. That is the line between drama and truth. And in this story, that line matters. Because the real tension is not that Ferrari has been proven guilty. The real tension is that Mercedes suddenly needed a reason. A reason why pole position was not enough. A reason why Hamilton looked so strong after the stop. A reason why Ferrari's risky plan landed perfectly. A reason why the championship leader left Spain with nothing. When a team is dominant, it expects the race to make sense. Mercedes expected Barcelona to make sense. They had the track position. They had the standings. They had the structure. But Ferrari turned the race into something Mercedes could not fully control. That is when data becomes emotional. Data is supposed to be cold. Numbers, graphs, traces, lap times, tire curves. But inside a title fight, data carries fear. It tells a team whether its advantage is real, whether a rival has improved, whether a defeat was random, or whether something bigger has changed. Mercedes would have studied Hamilton's pace after the virtual safety car with enormous attention. They would want to know if the Ferrari was suddenly better in slow corners. If the tires lasted longer than expected. If the car was more stable under braking. If the straight-line speed had changed. If the upgrade, if there was one in the way the rumor claimed, explained the step. That is normal. But normal analysis can turn into public suspicion when the result is painful enough. And Barcelona was painful enough. Because this was not just a Mercedes loss. It was Hamilton's win. That made it personal in a way nobody could fully avoid. Hamilton knew Mercedes. He knew how they operated under pressure. He knew the standards in that garage. He knew what it felt like when a race started in control and slowly slipped toward danger. And now he was on the other side, wearing Ferrari red, turning that danger into a victory. For Ferrari, that was symbolic. For Mercedes, it was uncomfortable. The driver who had once helped build their most famous era had just handed them the first truly emotional blow of the season. And that is why every explanation mattered. If Mercedes could explain the loss as suspicious Ferrari performance, the story becomes easier to carry. If they could point toward a hidden upgrade, or data that raised questions, then defeat becomes less about their own missed opportunity. But if there is no proof, then Mercedes has to face the harder answer. Ferrari executed. Hamilton delivered. Mercedes missed the window. That is a brutal sentence for a team used to controlling fine margins. And the hardest part is that Ferrari's performance did not need to be mysterious to be dangerous. A legal upgrade can be dangerous. Better tire understanding can be dangerous. A driver finally comfortable with the car can be dangerous. A pit wall that makes the right call under pressure can be dangerous. That is what Mercedes had to fear most. Not a Ferrari part that could be removed. A Ferrari package that might be real. Because if the Barcelona performance was legal and repeatable, then Mercedes has a championship problem. They cannot solve it through protest. They cannot make it disappear through outrage. They have to beat it on the track. That is where the title fight starts to change. Before Barcelona, Hamilton was chasing from a distance. After Barcelona, he was still behind, but the chase had a pulse. Antonelli's lead had been reduced. Mercedes had suffered a reliability failure. Ferrari had gained the kind of confidence that can turn one result into momentum. Momentum is dangerous because it spreads. It spreads from the driver to the engineers. From the engineers to the pit wall. From the pit wall to the factory. Suddenly, every meeting feels different. Every upgrade feels more important. Every risk feels more worth taking. Ferrari left Barcelona with that feeling. Mercedes left with questions. And when one team leaves with belief while the other leaves with questions, the championship begins to shift even before the next race starts. This is why the supposed hidden upgrade investigation became such a tempting story. It gave the public a dramatic explanation for a real emotional change. But the deeper truth is more subtle. Ferrari did not need to be caught hiding something for Barcelona to matter. Ferrari only needed to prove that Mercedes could be beaten. And they did. They beat them with strategy. They beat them with timing. They beat them with Hamilton. They beat them on a day when Mercedes had started from strength. That is the part no rumor can erase. And now, the entire paddock has seen it. McLaren has seen it. Aston Martin has seen it. Every strategist has seen it. Every engineer watching Mercedes' advantage has seen it. Every rival now knows that if Ferrari can create the right race shape, Mercedes can be made vulnerable.